Welcome to this next step in your study of biology, brought to you exclusively by E-studylab. In this session, we're going to step back from individual organisms and begin to look at something much wider: life as a network of connections. Biology does not only take place inside cells or within bodies. It unfolds across forests and rivers, villages and oceans, farms and cities. It takes place in movement and balance, in growth and loss, in seasons and change. This part of the course is about learning to see life not as isolated pieces, but as a living system. A conversation between plants, animals, people, air, water, and soil. So, let's begin with the word that names this whole field: ecology. Ecology is the study of how living organisms interact with one another and with their environment. It asks questions such as: where does an organism live? What does it need to survive? What does it eat? What eats it? And how does it affect the world around it? You can think of ecology as the science of relationships. No organism survives alone. Whether it is a tree drawing water from the ground, a bird eating insects, or a human planting crops, everything is shaped by its connections to other living and non-living things. One of the simplest ecological ideas is that of a habitat. A habitat is the natural place where an organism lives. A pond is a habitat. A forest is a habitat. Even the human body can be considered a habitat for tiny organisms that live inside it. A habitat is not just a location. It is a living environment that provides food, shelter, water, and space. Closely related to habitat is the idea of a niche. While habitat tells us where an organism lives, a niche tells us how it lives. It refers to the role an organism plays in its environment, what it eats, how it behaves, and how it interacts with others. Two animals might live in the same place, but survive in different ways. One may hunt at night, another during the day. One may live in trees, another on the ground. Their niches are different. As we widen our view, we move from individual organisms to larger living groups. A population is a group of the same species living in one area. A village population of people, a group of goats in a field, a school of fish in a river. Several populations living together form a community. A forest community includes trees, birds, insects, fungi, and animals. None exists alone. They form a living web. And when that community is considered together with the soil, water, air, and temperature that shapes it, we call the whole thing an ecosystem. An ecosystem includes both living and non-living parts. The living parts are called biotic factors: plants, animals, and microorganisms. The non-living parts are called abiotic factors: things such as sunlight, rainfall, wind, soil, and temperature. These forces shape what kind of life can survive in any place. Think about a dry desert compared to a rainforest. The huge difference in rainfall alone creates completely different ecosystems, with different plants and animals adapted to survive there. Life always adjusts itself to its conditions. If we continue to widen the lens, we eventually reach the Biosphere, which is the entire zone on Earth where life exists. This includes land, oceans, and the lower atmosphere. When you think of the Biosphere, imagine the Earth itself as a living system, breathing, cycling energy, and constantly shifting. Now, within ecosystems, populations never remain perfectly still. Numbers rise and fall. Animals migrate. Crops grow and die. This movement is studied through population dynamics. Every population is affected by births and deaths, by movement in and out, by food availability, and by disease. Some populations grow quickly when supplies are abundant. Others grow slowly or shrink when conditions change. In some ideal situations, a population grows rapidly without limits. In real life, however, growth eventually slows when food, space, or shelter runs out. The environment can only support a certain number of individuals. This limit is called the carrying capacity. This balance is not random. It is controlled by nature's quiet rules: availability, competition, climate, and survival. Another essential idea in ecology is biodiversity. Biodiversity refers to the variety of life in a place. Different species, different genes, different ecosystems. Ecosystems with high biodiversity are often more stable. If one species struggles, another may fill its role. This variety gives the environment strength, much like having multiple support pillars instead of just one. Biodiversity also matters to humans. It provides medicine, food, clothing, and culture. Our farms, forests, and seas depend on it. When biodiversity is damaged, we damage our own future. This brings us to a difficult truth. Human activity has begun to disrupt ecological systems at a scale the world has never seen before. Pollution affects air, water, and soil. Forests are cleared to make space for cities and farms. Wildlife habitats disappear. Climate change alters rainfall patterns and temperatures. Species vanish before we even manage to study them. This is why environmental science matters. Environmental science does not simply observe problems, it looks for solutions. It asks how we can live in ways that allow both people and ecosystems to survive together. Concepts such as conservation, sustainability, and restoration exist to protect not only nature, but ourselves. When forests are protected, rivers stay clean, and soils remain healthy, life remains possible. Before we end this session, I'd like you to quietly notice the environment around you today. The trees you pass, the insects you see, the air you breathe, the water you drink. Everything you touch is part of an ecosystem. You may be surprised how much life is unfolding around you when you begin to look for it. A reminder that this lesson is protected by copyright and is owned by E-studylab. In the next session, we will move more deeply into ecosystems themselves, how they function, how populations grow, and how small changes can ripple into major consequences.